his holy ones.
And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his holy ones, to execute judgment upon all, to convict every soul of the ungodly works which they have ungodly committed, and of all the harsh things, the hard speeches that ungodly sinners have spoken against him. The seventh from Adam stands in the gate, tracing the line of the turning of fate, with the quill made of shadow and ink made of light. He charts out the end of the long-lasting night. The seventh from Adam, the witness of old, the prophecy burning, the truth to be told. They walk in their lusts, they stumble in pride, with the veil of the heavens pulled firmly aside. The judgment is fixed, it is written in stone. The king is returning to claim back the throne. Not a word will be lost, not a deed left behind, when the eyes of the living are finally blind. The Lord comes with 10,000s to execute judgment, to execute judgment. On all.
Where the mist rolled down on the Hermon peak, where the air is thin and the spirit is weak. 200 souls with a fire in their eye, falling like stars from the belly of the sky. They made a pact in the dead of the gloom, to trade their halos for a darker room. They swore an oath by the edge of the blade, to never look back at the price that they paid. Sammy Isaac stood at the head of the line, with a look that was weary and a heart gone blind. They weren't looking for grace, they weren't looking for light. They were looking for women in the middle of the night. The mountain was shaking, the ground started to groan, as they traded their thrones for a pile of bone. You could hear the wind howl, you could hear the earth sigh, as the angels came down to tell the great lie. Oh, the watchers are walking in the mist and the haze, caught in the trap of their own selfish ways. They're trading the spirit for the dust of the ground, where the law is forgotten and the silence is found. Yeah, they're calling the thunder, they're calling the rain, watching the world go down the drain. They bound themselves with a curse and a chain, to hide from the glory and to live in the pain. A rebellion of pride, a fall from the grace. Now they're hunting for secrets all over the place. The heavens are weeping, the stars are all blurred, and nobody's listening to the final word. The mist is getting heavy, the visibility's low, and they're wandering places where they ought not to go. Brought down the knowledge that wasn't for men. They opened the gate that won't shut up again. From the stars in the zenith to the roots in the clay, they sold the tomorrow for the price of today. Zazzle's got a furnace in the hollow of his hand. He's teaching men to bleed the iron from the sand. Swords for the slaughter, daggers for the spite. They're turning all the silver into shadows in the night. Barakiel is whispering the secrets of the star, how to map the distance from the near unto the far. And Penemu's got a pen that's dripping poison on the page, writing out the logic that will trap us in a cage. They brought the root of mandrake, they brought the incantation, they sold the blueprint for the ruin of the nation. The
in shape. They're cutting off the corners, they're closing the escape. They'll show the heavy forge, the art of making mail, to turn a man to monster underneath the layer of scale. And every single secret is a tether and a lie. And every piece of wisdom makes a little piece of us die. It's the knowledge that burns, it's the fruit that's gone black. It's the door that they open that we can't ever shut back. Keep it locked in the bone, keep it buried in the clay, but the poison's in the water and it's washing us away. Forbidden, yeah, it's all forbidden. The price of the knowing is the soul that you're hiding down in the dark. Down in the dark. They teach the charms, they teach the spells, they build the stairway right down to the hills. No more innocence, no more prayer, just the smell of the sulfur hanging in the air. Iron and blood, stars and sin. Let the cold hard work begin. The sons of the watchers walk tall on the land, with the blood of the heavens and the dust of the sand. They grew like the cedar, they grew like the pine, hearts full of violence and shadows in line. They didn't know mercy, they didn't know shame. They devoured the harvest, they put out the flame. The earth began trembling beneath their heavy feet, and the wailing of mothers rose up from the street. They drank down the sorrow and laughed at the tears. Whatever was living, the bird or the beast, was brought to the table to serve at their feast. The valleys were flooded with crimson and clay. The light of the morning was stolen away, and the creatures of heaven looked down from the height at the sons of the fallen, the lords of the night. Oh, the giants are roaming the hills of the deep, while the world is in terror and the angels all weep. Born of the mist and the pride of the sky, too big for the earth and they never will die. Under the weight, under the stone, the Nephilim walking alone and alone. days, and also after that. They walked on the hills, they walked on the sea, they drank up the life of the wild and the free. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. Before and after, the shadow remains. Before and after, the earth bears the stains.
Masters of the mountain, they are trembling in the cave. They're looking for a savior, they're looking for a grave. They call upon the prophet, the one who walks the line, to carry up their sorrow to the kingdom of the divine. Oh Enoch, write the paper, write the words upon the scroll. Ask the King of Glory if he'll have mercy on our soul. We've traded in our spirit, we've broken every seal. Now we're kneeling in the cinders and we don't know to kneel. So he takes the pen of iron, he writes the prayer of pain, for the angels in the tempest, for the giants in the rain. He brings it to the altar, he brings it to the flame. But there's a silence in the heavens, there's a coldness in the name. The petition is a feather in a hurricane of light. It's a whisper in the canyon, it's a candle in the night. And the voice comes down like thunder, the voice comes down like stone. You've forsaken all the high places, and now you walk alone. There is no peace for the ones who fell. There is no road out of this hell. You had the wisdom, you had the key, and you threw it in the darkness of the deep black sea. The plea is denied, the gate is locked tight, and you're left with the shadows of your own fading light. Did you think the earth wouldn't cry out? Did you think the heavens wouldn't know? The seeds that you planted are starting to grow, and the harvest is coming. Yeah, the harvest is coming. Ye shall have no petition, and ye shall not have mercy. You have asked for this. Denied, denied. The shadows remain.
They looked for him in the fields. They looked for him in the city. They looked in the tent of his father. But he was not, for the veil had torn, and the silence had been broken. God had come to walk, and he had decided to take his friend home.
The heavy air is lifting, the ground is falling far. I'm rising past the mountain, I'm rising past the star. The light is changing color from a golden to a white. I'm moving through the veil, I'm moving through the light. The winds of high places are singing in my ears. They're washing off the sorrow, they're washing off the years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him into the flame that he saw. They're carrying me upward on a river made of fire, higher than the longing, higher than the desire. The geography of heaven is a map I never knew. Everything is crystal, everything is true. I see the halls of war, I see the throne of flame. I hear a million voices call out a single name. The gravity of spirit is pulling me within, where the ending of the story is where the worlds begin. Oh, lift me, carry me through the open door. I'm not the traveler that I was before. Into the brightness, into the blaze, lost in the rhythm of the ancient days. The heaven is wide, the heaven is near, and there is no shadow and there is no fear. I saw the mountain, I saw the blinding light, the face of the King, burning as the sun at night. For the portal is a person and the door is standing wide. I'm leaving all the ages to be by his side. Higher, higher. The veil is thin, the glory, the glory. And Enoch walked with God, and was not.
are the color of a light I cannot name. A sea of glass is burning with a cold and holy flame. The four-faced creatures moving in a rhythm of the spheres. I've left behind the languages, I've left behind the years. Above the cherubim, a throne of sapphire stone, the King of all the ages is sitting on his own. And the sound of many waters is the breathing of his chest. And the universe is kneeling in the middle of the rest. I fall upon my spirit, I collapse upon the floor. I've never known a mercy I've never known before. The secrets of the planets are written in the light. The wisdom of the ages is burning in the night. Every star a promise, every atom is a prayer. I am drifting in the ocean of the love that's dwelling there. I am small, I am fragile, I am turning into gold. The story of the Father is beginning to unfold. Holy, holy, holy is the center of the spinning, the ending of the shadow, the glorious beginning. I am broken by the beauty, I am shattered by the sight. A man of dust and ashes in the presence of the I saw the Ancient of Days, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and the wheels were burning fire. The veil is torn in two. I see the face of holy, 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 holy.
The Lord of the Spirits pulled back the veil and showed me the ending of the human tale. I saw the nations gathering like dust in the wind, the harvest of the harvest where the mercy begins. books were all open, the ledger was wide. There wasn't a shadow where a secret could hide. The mountains were crumbling, the sky turned to gray, and the King of the Ages stepped out on the way. I saw the Son of Man in a cloak made of cloud, with the thunder behind him and the truth crying loud. He came for the broken, he came for the torn, to heal all the damage since the day they were born. The sword in his mouth was a word made of light. It severed the darkness from the heart of the night. The chains of the watchers were melted away, and the night surrendered to the breaking of day. It's coming, like a thief in the dark. The fire is falling, the strike of the spark. Every valley is lifted, every mountain is low. The future is written and it's time for to go. The secrets are spoken, the ages are through, and everything, brother, is made to be new. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. No more crying, no more pain. The old has passed away, and the Lamb is the light of the lane. The future is written, the future is clear. The King is returning. The end is right here. The air here is fire, the light is a sound. I'm standing on glass, I'm not touching the ground. 4 figures appear in the shimmer of dawn. Their faces like lightning, their stature like stone. Michael is standing
with the sword of the flame. He whispers the weight of the Holy One's name. Uriel stands where the portals divide, with the secrets of stars in the dark of the tide.
Raphael reaches with a hand made of grace to wipe all the fear from the lines on my face.
Gabriel thunders, his voice like the sea. What brings a man to the place where we be? They're tall as the mountains, they're wide as the sky. They look through the bone, they look through the eye,
Like the 7 lamps of fire
that burn before the throne. They've seen the beginning and they stand there alone. Sanctus, Sanctus, vigilant force,
standing in guard at the crystalline door.
Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel,
Keepers of glory, masters of spell.
they hold the foundation, they hold the key.
And they weigh out the spirit of a man like me. Michael holds the order,
Uriel holds the light,
Raphael heals the broken.
Gabriel brings the sign.
For guardians of the threshold,
Four pillars of the throne, and I am just a traveler, standing all alone. Speak, son of Adam. Speak, son of earth. What is the value? What is the worth? We were the pillars that held up the stars. We were the light in the deep. We traded the morning for a bottle of pride while the world was falling to sleep. We saw the daughters of men in the valley. We saw the fire in their hair, and we bartered our wings for a taste of the dust and a breath of the heavy air. The music of heaven has turned to a drone, a low and a guttural sound. And the weight of the chains is the only true thing that we felt since we hit the ground. We're sitting in cabins where the light never reaches, watching the ages go by, begging the mountains to cover our faces and hide us away from the eye. Oh, the mountain is falling, the gate has been barred, the way of the transgressor is lonely and hard. We fell from the brightness, we fell from the grace, and there's no more room for us in this holy place. No room broken. We are the stone, the lords of the darkness, and the kings of the alone. The prophet came back from the portals of glass with a look that we couldn't endure. He didn't bring healing, he didn't bring wine, he didn't bring nothing to cure. He held up the scroll where the judgment was written in ink that is hotter than flame. And every one of us, one by one, heard the whisper of our own hidden name. We were the ones who knew how to measure the tides, we were the ones who knew how to spin. But we lost all the math and we lost all the count in the middle of our own sin. Now the winter is coming, the permafrost gathers, the silence is beginning to grow, and there's nowhere to run when the master of spirits decides that it's time for to go. For if God did not spare the angels who fell, but cast them in chains in the darkness of hell, reserved for the judgment, the day of the fire, the harvest is ready and we are the pyre. The mountain is falling, the gate has been barred, the way of the transgressor is lonely and hard. We fell from the brightness, we fell from the grace, and there's no more room for us in this holy place. No room in the garden, no room in the sky, just the long hollow echo of a last bitter cry. We are the broken, we are the stone, the lords of the darkness and the kings of the alone. We watch the light dying, we watch the end nearing. The king is arriving, and we have no more, no more, no more, no more.
The sky split open like a curtain of rain, and the rider is coming, breaking the chain. He isn't a phantom, he isn't a dream. He's the fire in the valley, he's the heart of the stream. The watchers are hiding in the holes of the deep, but the shepherd is waking from the middle of sleep. With the scroll in his hand and the light in his eyes, he's claiming the earth and he's claiming the sky. I saw him in the visions when the firmament tore. I saw him standing where the giants once roared. He's the root of the mountain, the branch of the tree. He's the truth that sets every prisoner free. The armies of heaven are gathering near to sweep out the shadow and wash out the fear. The world is a field that is ripe for the grain, and the King of the ages is coming to reign. Oh, the Son of Man is walking on the waters of the night, turning all the darkness into the morning light. He's the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. He's the brother Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon all, to convict every soul of their ungodly deeds and of all the harsh things sinners have spoken against him. The seventh from Adam has spoken the truth. The fire is falling on the loss of our youth. Coming on the clouds, coming to the gate. The waiting is over. The love is the way.
Smoke is finally lifted from the jagged edge of time. The mountain air is sweet as wine, the hills begin to climb. The giants left no shadow, and the watchers left no sound. There's a brand new kind of silence resting on this holy ground. I walked across the firmament, I've seen the crystal sea, and the heavy chains of yesterday have finally set me free. It's a wide open country with the morning at my back, and the stars are burning brighter on a long and golden track. Oh, the earth is turning over like a garden in the sun. The morning's finally over and the kingdom's just begun. Yeah, the old world is a ghost now and the new one has been born. And I'm walking through the garden in the quiet of the dawn. Like a brother, every field is like a yard. It's the rhythm of the breathing, it's the heartbeat of the land. It's the simple, steady mercy of the Master's open hand. The former things have withered, they've been severed from the pain. It's a symphony of stillness, it's a chorus of the soul, where the fragments of the broken finally learn to be whole. Oh, the earth is turning over like a garden in the sun. The morning's finally over and the kingdom's just begun. Yeah, the old world is a ghost now and the new one has been born. And I'm walking through the garden in the quiet of the dawn. Everything is new, everything is true, everything is true.
This is the final piece of your apocalyptic tapestry. The two witnesses, often interpreted as the two olive trees and the two lampstands, are the ultimate noir prophets. They aren't gentle. They are iron-willed, plague-bearing, and immovable. In the style of a dark, driving folk blues epic, think of a mix between Johnny Cash's Blind Willie Johnson's apocalyptic fervor. Two shadows stand at the city wall, dressed in the sackcloth gray. They've got the fire inside their throats, they don't have much to say. They shut the heavens up like a door and they hold the rain in hand. They turn the rivers into blood that poisons all the land. The people in the streets, they laugh, they think it's just a show, but they don't see the harvest scythe that's swinging to and fro. 1,000 days of sorrow, 1,000 days of dust. They're measuring the temple and they're shaking off the rust. Whatever man comes near to them, they spit the flame of hell. It eats the flesh right off the bone, it breaks the wicked spell. They've got the power to strike the world with every kind of plague, and every time they speak their word, the foundations start to sag. The beast is rising from the pit, he's coming for their life. He's coming with a heavy heart and a sharp and jagged knife. And for a moment in the market square, the beast, he wins the day. He leaves them lying in the mud and the city starts to play. Oh, they're the two at the gate, the bringers of the fire, the ministers of fate. They're the olive trees, they're the lampstands bright, shining in the middle of the longest night. And when the world is dancing on their bones and on their pride, the breath of God comes rushing in, and they're standing up inside. 3 days and a half they lie, a spectacle of stone. The city drinks and celebrates, it's sitting on the throne. But then the wind begins to howl, a low and guttural sound. The life of heaven rushes in and lifts them from the ground. The city shakes, a tent falls down, the people start to wail. The prophecy is written now and it's finished in the gale. They're rising up on clouds of white for all the world to see. The witnesses are going home and the end is bound to be. If anyone wants to harm them, fire comes from their mouths. They have the power to shut the sky. They have the power to turn the water to blood. Their work is done. The second woe is past. Oh, they're the two at the gate, the bringers of the fire, the ministers of fate. They're the olive trees, they're the lampstands bright, shining in the middle of the longest night. And when the world is dancing on their bones and on their pride, the breath of God comes rushing in, and they're standing up inside. They're standing up, they're rising up. The city's falling down. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his holy ones, to execute judgment upon all, to convict every soul of the ungodly works which they have ungodly committed, and of all the harsh things, the hard speeches that ungodly sinners have spoken against him. The seventh from Adam stands in the gate, tracing the line of the turning of fate, with the quill made of shadow and ink made of light. He charts out the end of the long-lasting night. The seventh from Adam, the witness of old, the prophecy burning, the truth to be told. They walk in their lusts, they stumble in pride, with the veil of the heavens pulled firmly aside. The judgment is fixed, it is written in stone. The King is returning to claim back the throne. Not a word will be lost, not a deed left behind, when the eyes of the living are finally blind. The Lord comes with 10,000s to execute judgment, to execute judgment, courts of Samaria, under a brazen sky, I stood before King Ahab with fire in my eye. His robes were purple velvet, heavy with gold and sin. Jezebel beside him, her lips curled in a wicked grin. The air was thick with incense, sweet and choking like decay. Baal's prophets danced in circles, calling on a god of clay. I felt the dust on my sandals from Gilead's rocky road, and the weight of heaven's silence pressed upon my soul alone. No rain shall fall, not a drop upon the valleys, not a whisper on the walls. No dew to kiss the morning, no cloud to hide the sun. By the living God of Israel, the drought has just begun. No rain. I saw the fear creep slowly across the servants' faces. Ahab's eyes grew narrow like a cornered beast in cages. The palace smelled of myrrh and fear, sweat upon the stone, while outside the fields lay golden, waiting for a rain that won't be shown. My heart was pounding thunder, though my voice was calm and low. I spoke the words the Lord had burned deep into my bones. The wind was hot and restless, like a lion in the heat. And in that moment Israel tasted judgment bittersweet. No rain shall fall, not a drop upon the valleys, not a whisper on the walls. No dew to kiss the morning, no cloud to hide the sun. By the living God of Israel, the drought has just begun. No rain. I am but a Tishbite stranger, a voice out in the wild. Yet heaven rides upon my tongue like a frightened holy child. What will become of this dry land, these people lost in night? I pray for mercy in the famine, but first must come the fight. No rain shall fall. 3 years of cracking cisterns and a silence over all. The earth will thirst and crack like clay, the rivers turn to dust, till they know the Lord is God, the only God worth trust. No rain. From the Jordan, dust on my weathered feet. The sun burned like judgment, turning the sky to hammered heat. God whispered low, hide yourself by Cherry's flowing stream. So I lay among the rocks where the wild things drink and dream. The water was cool and silver, sliding over mossy stone. My heart still racing thunder from the words I spoke on Ahab's throne. Ravens brought me bread, meat in the morning light. Ravens brought me bread in the cool and quiet night. Black wings against the golden sky, like angels dressed in gold. The Lord provides in secret places, He sustains my weary soul. Ravens brought me bread. Morning smelled a wilderness, dry herbs and river mist. I'd wake to beating feathers, dark eyes that never missed. They dropped the bread so gently, like mercy from above. Pieces of warm provision wrapped in feathers black as love. I felt the fear dissolving, replaced by quiet awe. In this hidden gorge of stone, I was held by heaven's law. The brook kept singing softly, a lullaby so pure. While Israel cracked with thirst, I drank where the faithful endure. Ravens brought me bread, meat in the morning light. Ravens brought me bread in the cool and quiet night. Black wings against the golden sky, like angels dressed in gold. The Lord provides in secret places, He sustains my weary soul. Ravens brought me bread. I wondered how long this mercy would last, how long till the brook runs dry and I'm cast out again. Yet every dawn they returned, faithful as the rising sun, teaching this tired prophet that the battle's already won. Ravens brought me bread when the whole world turned away. Ravens brought me bread, ravens brought me bread in the shadow of the fray. Though the land lies dying and kings have lost their way, my God still feeds His servant till the next storm comes my way. Ravens brought me bread. Ravens brought me bread.
I was out gathering sticks that day under a burning sky. My hands were rough and trembling, my boy about to die. We had just a handful of flour left in the bottom of the jar, a few drops of oil, enough to make one final meal not far. Then this stranger from Israel, dusty robes and steady eyes, asked me for water and some bread. I nearly broke and cried. I told him the truth so softly, with my heart heavy as stone. We're fixing to eat and perish, and this house will be alone. But the jar of oil won't run dry, and the barrel of flour won't fail. The God of this strange prophet turned my sorrow into sail. I gave him what I had left, though it felt like my last breath. And heaven filled my little home with life instead of death. Jar of oil, barrel of flour, God's mercy every hour. I baked a tiny cake for him first, though my hands shook with fear. My little boy watched, silent eyes full of hungry tears. The smell of bread rose gentle in our small and humble room, and something deep inside me broke like flowers in the gloom. Day after day the jar stayed full, the oil stayed shining gold. We ate like we were royalty, while the outside world grew cold. My boy started laughing again, color came back to his face, and I felt the weight of heaven in this quiet, holy place. The jar of oil won't run dry, and the barrel of flour won't fail. The God of this strange prophet turned my sorrow into sail. I gave him what I had left, though it felt like my last breath. And heaven filled my little home with life instead of death. Jar of oil, barrel of flour, God's mercy every hour. I thought we'd die together, just me and my only son. But God sent a man from Gilead, and the miracle begun. From the very edge of nothing, he made something beautiful. In the heart of a scared widow, he proved his love is true. Yeah, the jar of oil won't run dry, and the barrel of flour won't fail. He took my tiny offering, and he filled it like a well. Now I believe with all my heart, though I don't understand. The Lord provides for broken hands when we trust in his plan. Jar of oil, barrel of flour, yesterday, running round my door. Now he lies so cold and silent on this hard earthen floor. Fever took him in the night, like a thief in the gloom. I held him close and begged him, but death still took him too soon. I looked at that man of God with tears burning in my eyes, and the pain came rushing out before I could disguise. Give me back my son, give me back my boy. Why did you come to my house just to bring me more destroy? I gave you all I had left, my oil, my flower, my trust. Now my baby's gone forever. Have you come to curse us? Oh Lord, give him back. Give me back my son. I watched him carry my child up those narrow wooden stairs. His face was tied with sorrow, heavy with the prophet's prayers. The room grew thick with silence, only oil lamp flickering gold. I stood below in darkness, feeling empty, broken, cold. Then I heard him crying out, stretching over my boy 3 times, calling on his living God with words both fierce and kind. Give me back my son, give me back my boy. Turn this heavy grief to dancing, turn this sorrow into joy. You gave me bread from nothing, I'll give life where death has won. Bring the breath back to his body, give me back my son. I fell down on my knees, hard too full to understand how the same God who fed us could raise him from the dead, from the shadow of the grave. Life came rushing like a flood, and I knew right then and there, this man speaks the voice of God. You gave me back my son, you gave me back my boy. Breath and laughter filled the room where death once took its toll. Now I know the Lord is God, the only one who's true. He brought life from the ashes, and he can do it for you. Yes, he gave me back my
stood on Mount Carmel, wind whipping through my hair. 450 prophets of Baal were standing there. The air was thick with tension, the sky faded brass. King Ahab watched uneasy, the people gathered on the grass. They built their altar to Baal, danced and cut themselves raw, crying, Baal, answer us, from morning till the noon had passed. Then fire from heaven fell, burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the water as a well. Fire from heaven came roaring like a train. The people fell on their faces, and they knew the Lord's name. I soaked my altar with water till it ran into a flood. 12 stones for the 12 tribes covered in the blood. I prayed, Lord God of Abraham, let it be known today that you are the true God, and I've done just what you say. Then the fire came crashing like lightning from the throne, consumed everything it touched, left nothing but a smoking stone. Fire from heaven fell, burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the water as well. Fire from heaven came roaring like a train. The people fell on their faces, shouting, the Lord is God again. They seized the prophets of Baal down by the Kishon brook, and the sky that had been silent finally began to look like rain was coming after all these years of drought. The fire had spoken louder than any tongue or shout. Fire from heaven, turn the hearts of a nation in the flicker of a spell. Fire from heaven, judgment and mercy in one flame. And I stood there on Carmel, knowing nothing would be the same. I ran into the desert, my legs heavy as lead. Jezebel swore she'd kill me, put a price upon my head. I left my servant behind me, under a broom tree I lay. Asked the Lord to take my life, I'd had enough that day. The wind howled through the wilderness, The sun beat on my skin. All I saw was failure, felt like no one else had won. I alone am left, I alone am left. All your prophets, they are dead now. Only me that's got any breath. I alone am left, standing in this weary fight. Lord, I'm tired and I'm broken. Take me home tonight, yeah. I walked 40 days and nights till I reached Horeb's cave. Hid inside the mountain, feeling like a lost and empty slave. The wind tore the rocks to pieces, then the earthquake shook the ground. Fire blazed like judgment, but the Lord was not around. Then came a gentle whisper, soft as morning dew. A still small voice that whispered, "What you doing here, Elijah? Who?" I alone am left, I alone am left. All your prophets, they are dead now. Only me that's got any breath. I alone am left. But the Lord said, "No, you're wrong. I still got 7,000 who ain't bowed to that false song." I felt so small and lonely, like a single grain of sand. Thought the whole world had gone over to the enemy's hand. But God was gently teaching me in that quiet, holy space that I was never fighting solo in this long and lonesome race. Left, but I ain't alone no more. God's got hidden faithful ones still standing on the shore. I alone am left, but his voice calls me on. Time to rise up from this desert and keep moving toward the dawn. I stood on Horeb's mountain, my spirit torn apart. The wind came like a hurricane, it ripped the world in half. It broke the rocks to pieces, howled with terrifying sound. But the Lord was not in the wind, he was not there to be found. Then the earth began to tremble, shook me down onto the ground. but the Lord was not in the earthquake. He made no reply in the sound. He was not in the hurricane. He was not in the fire. He was not in the earthquake, shaking my desire. After all the noise and fury, after all the power and might, came a still small voice, a whisper in the night. Then the fire came blazing, roaring across the stone, burned so hot and angry, but I stood there all alone. The Lord was not in the fire, though it lit up the sky. Then I heard the gentlest whisper, and I covered my eyes. What are you doing here, Elijah? He asked me soft and low. I poured out all my loneliness, and he answered to my soul. He was not in the hurricane. He was not in the fire. He was not in the earthquake, shaking my desire. After all the noise and fury, after all the power and might, came a still small voice, a whisper in the night. All that storm and power tried to speak so loud, but my God chose the silence, spoke soft as morning cloud. In the quiet I could hear him clearer than the roar. That still small voice restored me down deep inside my core. He was not in the hurricane, nor the fire burning bright. He was not in the earthquake, on that lonely mountain height. Only in the whisper, gentle as the dew, came the voice of heaven, saying, I'm still here with you. I left that mountain quiet with a whisper in my ear. 12,000 still were faithful. I no longer walked alone in fear. The road stretched out before me, through the fields of golden grain, when I saw a young man plowing, working hard in sun and rain. 12 yoke of oxen moving, dust rising in the air. I felt the Spirit move me. This was the one who'd share my care. So I threw my cloak upon him as I walked on by. Threw my cloak upon him underneath that endless sky. No words were needed in that moment, just the mantle on his back, a silent call from heaven to follow down this lonesome track. He left the oxen standing, let the wooden plow fall still, ran behind me breathless, with a longing and a will. Sir, let me kiss my father and my mother one last time. I turned and looked upon him, saw the fire in his eyes shine. Go back, I said, but remember what I've done this day. He killed his oxen, burned the plow, gave it all away. I threw my cloak upon him, and the old life said goodbye. Threw my cloak upon him, neath that wide and holy sky. From the fields of Abel Meholah to the road that has no end, a prophet's mantle fallen on a brand new faithful friend. The weight of what I carried, now he chose to share. The fire, the drought, the whisper, the burden and the prayer. He left his home behind him, with no promise but the call. Sometimes the greatest journeys start with nothing at all. Yes, I threw my cloak upon him on that ordinary day. Threw my cloak upon him, and the Spirit led the way. Now two men walk together where only one had walked before. The mantle has been given, and the work goes evermore. In the city of Jezreel, where the palace shadows fall, there was a man named Naboth. He owned a little vineyard small. King Ahab wanted that garden right beside his palace gate, but Naboth said, "This land is mine. From my fathers it's my fate." So Jezebel wrote letters, sealed them with the royal ring, had Naboth falsely accused and killed for a wicked thing. Oh, Naboth's vineyard, stolen by a king's cruel hand. Blood cried from the ground across the stolen land. The Lord sent Elijah with fire in his eyes to speak the truth to power, and the truth never lies. I found King Ahab walking in that vineyard he had claimed. His face turned white with terror when he heard me call his name. "Have you murdered and then stolen?" I asked him to his face. "Dogs will lick your blood where Naboth's blood was spilled in this place. Jezebel will be eaten by dogs outside the city wall. Your whole house will fall in judgment. This is the word of the Lord of all." On Naboth's vineyard, stolen by a king's cruel hand, blood cried from the ground across the stolen land. The Lord sent Elijah with justice in his command to speak the truth to power. Let it ring across the land. It's always been the same story. The rich take what they please. They crush the poor and the honest, then fall down on their knees. But the God of the widow and the vineyard sees it all, and he sends a voice in the desert to answer every call. Oh, Naboth's vineyard, let the story be retold. How a prophet stood up fearless against power, wrapped in gold. The Lord will judge the mighty for the blood upon their hands. Naboth's vineyard cries forever across these troubled lands. 50s march on the crest of the ridge, iron-jawed, brass-necked, guarding the bridge. They call for the fire, they call for the flame. They summon the boy by the king's hollow name. But the air here is thin and the sulfur is sweet, and the earth is just waiting to swallow their feet. Oh, the earth is just waiting to swallow their feet. If I am a man of God, then let the sky tear open wide. If I am a man of God, let the consuming fire decide. It's not my hand that holds the spark,
It's just the light against the dark.
if I am a man of God, burn it all to ash and pride. The captain cries out, come down from your height. But the mountain is shaking in the middle of the night. I'm a ghost in the static, a
Hum in the wire,
and I'm keeping the rhythm of the
coming fire.
no warning given, no parley, no plea. The sky descends in a white-hot decree. The armor is liquid, the bone turns to breath.
The captains are tasted by sudden
Sharp death. If I am a man of God, then let the sky tear open wide.
If I am a man of God,
Let the consuming fire decide. It's not my hand that holds the spark,
it's just the light against the dark.
if I am a man of God, burn it all to ash and pride. Fifty men standing,
50 men gone,
only the silence remains at the dawn.
the grass is all blackened.
The metal is fused,
The king has his answer.
the message is used. But a third one ascends with his face in the dust. He kneels in the cinders, he trembles in trust.
I know what you are,
He whispers in dread,
please let my life be spared
from the dead. The angel speaks, the fire retreats. The prophet arises and walks to the streets, to the throne of the dying, to the end of the line, to tell the king
what he's run out of time.
I'm a man of God. I am a man of God.
The fire lives in me. The fire lives in me.
You do not know what spirit I am from.
You do not know, you do not know.
What spirit I am from. Down from the mountain where the fire came down, Elijah walks into the capital town. The captain is weeping, the guards hold their breath as the prophet steps into the chamber of death. King Ahaz Isaiah is trapped in his bed with a crown made of vanity heavy on his head. Elijah looks down with a voice like a stone. You pray to a false god, you die on your own. Oh, the road is winding, the river is near, the wind is arising, the calling is clear. Step by step till the journey is through. As the Lord lives, I will not leave you. The old king is buried, a new king is crowned, but the feet of Elijah are leaving this ground. From Gilgal to Bethel, the dusty road runs. Elijah tells Elisha, your time has begun. Stay in the city, my race is nigh run. But Elisha stands firm in the heat of the sun. 3 times he is tested, 3 times he will swear. Wherever you're walking, I'm already there. Oh, the road is winding, the river is near, the wind is arising, the calling is clear. Step by step till the journey is through. As the Lord lives, I will not leave you. 50 young prophets are watching the shore to see if the master has one wonder more. They stand at the Jordan where deep waters flow, with nowhere to turn and with nowhere to go. Elijah, he takes off his mantle of black, he rolls up the leather, he swings his arm back, he strikes at the water, the current divides, and they walk on dry dirt to the opposite side. Now the water is crossed and the twilight is nigh. Ask what you want, for I fly to the sky. I don't want your gold and I don't want your crown, but give me your spirit when you are caught up. A double-sized portion of fire and grace to carry your shadow in this broken place. You've asked for a hard thing, a heavy old load, but if you can see me, turn into the road. If your eyes stay wide open when the wind starts to rise, the power will drop from the tearing of skies. So the road is winding, the river is near, the wind is arising, the calling is clear. Step by step till the journey is through. As the Lord lives, I will not leave you. No, as the Lord lives, I will not leave you.
The Jordan's muddy, the current's high, there's a heavy hurt hanging in the sky. Elisha's walking with a stubborn heart, he knows the stitching is about to part. Stay here a while, the master said, but the dust of the road is the path I tread. And I won't turn back, and I won't be still, not till the Spirit climbs the hill. Oh, catch the wind, it's a sudden roar, a golden flash flash on a harvest floor. Not of this earth, not of this clod, but a chariot sent by the breath of God. The horses of fire are breathing deep. Wake the mountain from its winter sleep. See him rise, see him spin where the light is, and the glory begins. Like a heavy rain, a double portion for the long haul pain. I reach for the hem, I reach for the wool. I feel the tether, I feel the pull. The heavens are open, the seam is wide. There's nowhere left for the world to hide. He's gone in a blink, he's gone in a blaze, leaving me here to count the days. Oh, catch the wind, it's a sudden roar, a golden flash on a harvest floor. Not of this earth, not of this clod, but a chariot sent by the breath of God. The horses of fire are breathing deep. Wake the mountain from its winter sleep. See him rise, see him spin where the light ends, and the glory begins. Scorched where the wheels once spun, blackened tracks neath the setting sun. I stand in the silence, I stand in the cold, holding a story that's yet to be told. The chariot's gone, the fire has passed, but the echo of thunder is built to last. Flash in the valley, just a whisper of gold, and the horses keep running, running away.
The sky is a scar that is starting to close, where the chariot reeled and the whirlwind arose. The silence is heavy, the silence is deep, like the weight of a secret the desert must keep. And there in the ashes and tracks where they stood lies a ragged old mantle of leather and wood. Elisha, he kneels in the dust of his friend, and he catches his breath where the highway must end. He reaches his hand through the heat of the air, and he lifts up the burden he's chosen to bear. He turns to the west with the cloak in his hand, a solitary soul in a desolate land, with a fire in his belly and a heart like a stone. He walks to the edge of the river alone. The 50 young prophets are watching the bank, standing in silence in fire and in rain. They're whispering, look, see the boy standing there. The master is gone to the tearing of air. He's got nothing but rags, he's got nothing but grief. Let's see if his God is a shadow or a thief. Elisha, he stands where the deep waters flow. He rolls up the leather, he prepares for the blow. He raises his arms to the darkening sky, and the canyon roars back as they all hear him cry. Where is the Lord? Where is the God of Elijah? Where is the God of Elijah? And the Jordan, it breaks. Yeah, the Jordan, it tears. The river is bending for the man who is there. The waters wall up to the left and the right, and a highway of dirt opens up in the light. He steps through the canyon, he marches ahead, walking on ground where the angels just trod. The old prophet's gone, but the fire is won. The shadow has passed, but the day has begun. The spirit of the master is resting on the sun. The spirit of the master is resting on the sun. As the Lord lives, power lives on. As the Lord lives, the power lives on. As the Lord lives, the power lives on. I was walking up to Bethel on a road of shifting shade, with a heavy heart for Israel and a message I must tell. The sun was high and brutal, and the dust was in my eyes, when a pack of local strays emerged to cut me down the side. 42 of them I counted, standing wide across the path, mocking up the prophet, hoping for a bloodbath. Go on up, you bald head, was the chant they threw my way. They were closing in for business, they were out for the fray. My life was on the line, and I saw the storms in hand. I didn't have no mercy left for those who hunt the land. I turned and faced the circle, and I spoke the name on high. When you back a prophet in a corner, it's the mocker's turn to die. Oh, the wood began to shiver, and the brush began to break. Two she-bears tore the silence for the holy prophet's sake. They didn't stop for talking, they didn't stop for prayer. They took the mocking 42 and left the prophet there. I didn't blink an eyelid as the screaming filled the air. I just turned my back on Bethel and I left them to the bear. If you want to test the spirit, you can find out where it ends. When the wilderness is hungry, you won't find no other friends. They wanted a spectacle, they got what they sought. The way gift are dearly, dearly bought. The road is clear again, the path is wide and free. The Lord keeps his company, and that's enough for me. Oh, the wood began to shiver, and the brush began to break. Two she-bears tore the silence for the holy prophet's sake. They didn't stop for talking, they didn't stop for prayer. They took the mocking 42 and left the prophet there. The road is empty now, just the sound of the wind, and the price has been paid. The woods were sweating labor, the Jordan running fast. I was swinging at the cedar, praying this swing would last. But the grain was mean and knotted, the handle dry and old, and the head took flight like a bird of light into the mud and cold. It didn't make a ripple, just a dull and heavy thud. My livelihood was buried in a foot of river mud. I stood there on the bank, shivering and thin, knowing the master wouldn't hear the mess I'm in. I told him how it happened, my voice was shaking low. It was borrowed steel, Elijah, I've got nowhere to go. I can't pay for the iron, I can't pay for the time. He didn't ask for reasons, didn't ask me for a rhyme. He just looked out at the water with the gray and churning flow. Cut a piece of willow from the bank down below. He didn't make a gesture, didn't dance, didn't shout, just tossed the wood up on the wave to find the metal out. And the iron felt the call and the wood began to lead, rising through the current like a flower from a sea. The laws of the river, they couldn't hold the weight when the mercy of the master decides to intervene with faith. I watched the water tremble, I watched the surface break, and the iron came a-floating for a poor man's sake. I reached into the current, felt the cold against my skin, and closed my fingers on the head of the tool I'm living in. It was heavier than before, but the weight was finally right. I didn't look for wonders, I just got back to the light. The prophet turned his back, already walking up the trail. He's got no time for medals, he's got no time for scale. Just a man who saw a brother losing all he had, and did what he had to do to keep the boy from feeling bad. It ain't about the magic, it ain't about the show, it's just about the debt we owe and the work we've got to go. And the iron rose to meet it, the wood began to lead, rising through the current like a flower from a sea. The laws of the river, they couldn't hold the weight when the mercy of the master decides to intervene with faith. I watched the water tremble, I watched the surface break, and the iron came a-floating for a poor man's sake. Yeah, it's back in my head. to make the forces fall. But miles away in Israel, the prophet spoke the word. He warned the king of Israel of everything he heard. Oh, Ahab's house was guarded well, the trap was set in vain. And Aram's king grew furious with a burning jealous pain. So open up our eyes, Lord, to see the mountain crest. For those who stand along with us are more than all the rest. The chariots of fire burn, the horses start to gleam, while the mighty men of Aram walk inside a blinding dream. The king of Aram sent his horsemen riding through the night. They ring the walls of Dothan town before the morning light. The servant woke at break of day and cried in bitter dread. Oh master, look, the army comes, we are as good as dead. Elisha smiled and told the lad, take heart and do not fear. There is a greater army standing right beside us here. So open up our eyes, Lord, to see the mountain crest. For those who stand along with us are more than all the rest. The chariots of fire burn, the horses start to gleam, while the mighty men of Aram walk inside a blinding dream. Elisha prayed unto the Lord, strike down their eyes with night. And all the flashing spears of Aram withered of their sight. He walked right out into their midst and took them by the hand, and led the blind and helpless host across the rugged land. He marched them down to Samaria, right to the city gate, where Israel's king stood waiting there to seal the soldier's fate. Oh, shall I slay them, master? Cried the king with sword in hand. Elisha said, you do not slay the captives of your land. Go bake them bread and pour them wine and fill the table high, and send them back to Aram's king beneath the open sky. They ate their fill and journeyed home. The war drums ceased to beat, and Aram's raiders turned away in a peaceful, quiet defeat. So open up our eyes, Lord, to see the mountain crest. For those who stand along with us are more than all the rest. The chariots of fire burn, the horses start to gleam, while the mighty men of Aram walk inside a blinding dream. The scroll is folded, the ink is dry. The prophets have spoken their long goodbye. The silence has settled on the dusty plain, like the waiting earth for the winter rain. But there is a promise written in the star, that the one who left is not so far. A turning of hearts, a bridge to be crossed, to gather the lonely, to bring back the lost. And I will send Elijah
children's face and plant the mercy in this weary place. Oh, wait for the dawn, keep the candle bright. We are walking out of the longest night. High on the mountain, the air is thin, where the earth ends and the heavens begin. The veil is torn and the vision is clear. The law and the promise are standing here in robes of white, in a blinding gleam, waking the soul from a troubled dream. The Master stands with the prophet of old, and the story shifts as the truth is told. Not a chariot now, but a quiet voice, a call to the spirit, a final choice. The fire is tempered, the storm has passed into a love that is built to last. See the light, see the changing tide. There is nowhere left for the grace to hide. And I will send Elijah before the day to light the shadows and show the way, to turn the fathers to the children's face and plant the mercy in this weary place. So wait for the dawn, keep the candle bright. We are walking out of the longest night. The sun is rising, the hearts are turning. He is coming, He is here. I am the voice of one calling in the wilderness. Make way. I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness. Make straight.